Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Friday, November 10th. We're just a couple days away from the Jaguars hosting San Francisco 49ers. The Jaguars 6-2 have won 5 straight games. 49ers 5-3 have lost 3 straight contests, but one of the most dangerous, talented, and well-coached teams in the NFL coming into Jacksonville this weekend. We're going to get into keys to victory for your Jaguars to take down the 49ers, trying to get to 7-2, trying to continue this win streak. Let's get into it. First, start with the offensive side of the ball. You have to get out of your own way on offense. And what do I mean by that? Silly turnovers. They have persisted of late for the Jaguars, and this is an offense that has been moving the ball very well. This is an offense that has been looking more impressive than they did to start the season. They have been making progress throughout this season. I think you're seeing Calvin Ridley get more comfortable in this offense. I think you're seeing Trevor Lawrence figure out how to spread the ball better to his targets. You know, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. I think you would like to see Zay Jones in there. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Obviously, he's been dealing with the knee injury, but get out of your own way on offense. Obviously, I think Zay Jones, when he does return, will help open things up a little bit, but as of right now, you're probably not going to have that. You can still get out of your own way by not making silly mistakes on the offensive side of the ball. Silly turnovers, they have not cost the Jaguars on this 5-game winning streak, but eventually they will. The Jaguars, they have faced some good teams on this win streak. I don't think they have faced a team that is as talented or well-coached as the 49ers, and I don't think they've faced a team that is backed into a corner as much as the 49ers. So they're going to come out swinging. They're going to come out fighting. Both teams coming off a bye. They've had plenty of time to rest up and to prepare for this contest. I also think on offense, you want to be in plenty of 11 personnel, all right? 3 wide receivers. I think you dictate that they play nickel. Isaiah Oliver has struggled in primary coverage this year. The nickel that they brought over from Atlanta, a player that I actually really liked in free agency, he has not been very effective in primary coverage. I think if you're able to target him with Christian Kirk, that could be a matchup that you win and win often, quite frankly. So I think you want to dictate 11 personnel quite a bit. I know the Jaguars will be in different personnel packages, but on money downs, I think 11 personnel is going to be really good for the Jaguars. And that doesn't have to mean, 3 true wide receivers. Evan Ingram can be out there in 11 personnel and be lined up in the slot for you. You can do different things like that, or even lined up outside. But I think 11 personnel is going to help dictate that they're in nickel, and I think it's going to help you move the football, especially in key situations. Steve Wilks, the 49ers defensive coordinator, who is a really good defensive coordinator, first year with the 49ers. Obviously, D'Amico Ryans left, their former defensive coordinator, to become the Houston Texans head coach. But Steve Wilks, he is their defensive coordinator. He's moving from the booth to the sideline for the first time in his career. I think that that's just a move that, nothing else is working right now. Maybe we can get him down on the sideline and it helps energize the group, the defense. I'm not sure, really. The Steelers did this a week ago with their offensive coordinator. I think it's kind of desperate, but it is what it is. Then you also trade for Chase Young. Right? They are really getting desperate on the defensive side of the ball to try to improve things, and they want to get to the quarterback so badly, right? Like, this is a team that has been creating pressure and generating pressure, but they have not been recording the sacks that they're used to. I think they want so badly to get to the quarterback. You're going to be able to use that against them at times. They try to get upfield in a hurry. I think Doug and Press Taylor, they can dial it up and take advantage of that with different runs that, trap defenders in the backfield. I think you can use Trevor Lawrence as these pass rushers try to get upfield. Trevor Lawrence, just run right past them in the pocket, step up in the pocket, and if there's a lane, take it, because when they're in man coverage, which they will run some man coverage, you should have open lanes to run with the football. You're not going to have guys just sitting there watching the quarterback's eyes, watching what Trevor Lawrence is doing. They're going to be manned up against a receiver. You go take advantage of it if you're Trevor Lawrence. I think you're going to be able to do that in this one. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, slow down the run game and the extensions of it, screens, etc. They are a run-first team. I think you don't let them get it going, and you're going to be just fine. The Jaguars' run defense has been elite, but you're going against Christian McCaffrey. You're going against probably one of the best wide zone teams in the NFL. Obviously, their offensive line hasn't been as good as you'd like. Trent Williams has been injured. He did return to practice on Thursday in a limited fashion for the 49ers with that ankle. So will he be able to return? I'm not sure. But they will be without Aaron Banks, their starting left guard, at the very least, it looks like. But yeah, I think that if you're able to stop the run, which you've done consistently throughout this 2023 season, then you're going to be able to put them in situations that they don't want to be in. Because the Jaguars, they are a turnover creating team. The 49ers, when they haven't been able to run the ball lately, they have been turning the football over. Brock Purdy has been turning the football over. It hasn't been pretty for the 49ers as of late. If you can stick to that recipe defensively, which we know that's what the Jaguars want to do, then you're going to be just fine. I think also avoiding multiple coverage busts in this game. Like if they get somebody up and down the field once, you kind of chalk it up to it's just going to happen because Kyle Shanahan is so good at scheming things up and getting guys open and creating space. And they lead the league, I believe, in separation. So that just kind of is what it is. But I think that if you limit the coverage busts and you limit the separation by playing a lot of zone defense, that you're going to have an opportunity to slow down the passing offense of the 49ers and potentially force turnovers, potentially get to the quarterback, all that fun stuff. But you've got to avoid the coverage busts. And, the Houston Texans, Bobby Slowick, he comes from this Kyle Shanahan tree. Bobby Slowick, their offensive coordinator in Houston, and he was able to dial up a couple plays that kind of tested the Jaguars' coverage rules, and they ended up making a couple big mistakes, and those big mistakes led to touchdowns. You cannot let that happen in this contest if you're Mike Caldwell, if you're this Jaguars defense, and a lot of it just does come down to communication and making sure that you are on your rules. But we'll see how that plays out. So you got to avoid multiple coverage busts, in my opinion, if you're the Jaguars. Obviously, getting Tyson Campbell, Andre Cisco back in the secondary could help that out in a big way. If you're the Jags, and then protecting Trevor Lawrence on the other side of the ball, getting Walker Little back at left guard could help in that regard as well. But final defensive point, Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker got to show up. They have been very, very good for the Jaguars this year. Trayvon Walker, especially over the last month, has improved. Josh Allen has been kicking ass the entire year. And when I say Trayvon Walker has improved, he's had a good year for the Jaguars. He's improved as a pass rusher over the last month. In my opinion, and I think he's been doing some good things for them from a pass rush standpoint. He's always been good at setting the edge and getting the job done against the run. But this team could be without potentially Trent Williams. They probably are going to be without Aaron Banks. So if you can attack that left side of the offensive line, and then the right side of the offensive line hasn't been particularly good in pass protection either for the 49ers. This is an offensive line that has let up a ton of pressure. And I think if you get pressure in Brock Purdy's face, eventually something is good going to happen for your defense. And the Jaguars lead the NFL in forcing turnovers. Continue the recipe. I think the 49ers are going to show you some different things offensively from a formational standpoint, but it's not too complicated, right? You just got to know what Mike Caldwell has shown you this week and what you've seen on tape, and know that they are not running that many crazy concepts. It's just they can do it from different personnel packages. Don't let that fool you if you're the Jaguars up front and on the back end. Now, special teams could be crucial as well for the Jaguars. They have been fantastic on special teams. We've talked about it a lot this week because I think it deserves to be talked about. Brandon McManus nailing field goals, also doing very well on kickoff. Logan Cook, excellent punter. Jamal Agnew getting the job done. Special teams could be crucial. You can't have a game like you had on special teams against the Houston Texans, and I don't think that they will have that sort of game again this year. It was just blunder after blunder after blunder on special teams by them, but you got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's, special teams-wise. Now, I mentioned Zay Jones. I don't think Zay Jones will be back this week, even though he has been practicing in a limited fashion for the first time in over a month. With the knee injury. But if there's no Zay Jones, you've had a couple weeks to get ready for this game. I would like to see them kind of push the ball to the fourth receiver, after Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram a little bit. And I think Elijah Cooks would be the best guy, the best candidate to have some targets down the field. And the reason I want you to do that is because teams are keying in on your top three receivers, right? They really are. And I think that if you have somebody out there who the defense respects what they can do, which so far you haven't seen that, right? You know, the Jaguars, they heavily targeted Jamal Agnew against the New Orleans Saints. It did not go well. Even though the Saints weren't giving him any attention, it still just wasn't going very well. And you've seen Tim Jones. He's really more of a blocker and utility player than a true receiver at this point in his career. Give Elijah Cooks, the rookie who showed throughout his training camp, throughout the preseason, and throughout his college career that he can do some things vertically, that he has a catch radius, that he has strong hands. I think at some point, give him an opportunity. Like, why'd you keep him on the roster if you're not ever going to give him an opportunity? I think this could be a week to do it. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, hopefully if you don't get Zay back this week, hopefully soon, because again, he will help open up the offense, not even just from the standpoint of you have to respect him, but he can absolutely roast defenses, and defenses know that. Not the most consistent player all the time as Zay Jones, but he at least makes you respect what is on the other side of the field, from Calvin Ridley. So the final key for me is you. Show up and show out at this home game at the Bank, Everbank Stadium, 1 p.m. It should be a lovely Sunday afternoon. National media folks calling out the fan base this week, shut them up. That's all you can do. This game, it won't be on national TV, so not everybody's going to see it. But the people who do see it, make sure that stadium is loud as hell. Make sure that there's a lot of teal. The Jaguars are going to be wearing all teal with the black socks. I think it's going to be a great look. Highly recommend fans going out there wearing their teal, being loud for 4 quarters, and helping their football team win the game. They did it a few weeks back against the Indianapolis Colts. Do it again this week against the 49ers. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. You can hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Hit that like and subscribe button. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.